Florian Xhekaj is more of a unicorn than we thought, as he's now on 30 goal pace in the OHL and has been moved to center. We'll be talking about his insane season so far, plus some updates from all around the Habs minor league prospects, including Mesar and Beck showing out recently, and how Joshua Waugh and Sean Farrell might be next in line for Habs call-ups. Stick around for all of that on this episode of Habs Digest. We're going to get first into Joshua Waugh and Sean Farrell, and Jesse, it sure seems like they are next in line. They had a dominant series against the Manitoba Moose this weekend, and they just played their second game of that today. And as Marco D'Amico tweets, Joshua Waugh continues his impressive pace to his rookie season. He has 7 goals, 9 assists for 16 points in 12 games. Farrell is breaking out right now. 3 goals, 6 assists, and 9 points in 12 games. These two, Jesse, have been amazing. Of course, Farrell got a bit of chance to play with Montreal at the end of last season, and Joshua Waugh has been on everyone's radar since he dominated the Q last year, dominated the World Juniors, dominated training camp, and is now dominating the AHL. It seems kind of insane to me that these guys are having such productive seasons for how young they are.
And I think it's just because they're helping each other too. It's so nice to see these young guys having this chemistry together, getting in just their last game, combining on 2 goals together. And then Joshua Waugh, really just showing his amazing playmaking, just putting it on a tee to Farrell, and then just seeing him snipe. But it's amazing. We know Joshua Waugh playing amazing, 16 points in 12 games, just completely lighting it up, looking every day more like he's going to be a top 6 player for the Habs. The more that he continues to produce at this HL level, that looks like the more and more it looks like that's going to be his projection for the future. But I mean, players like Sean Farrell that we almost forget about because we have so many good prospects. The fact that, he's starting to get his points, still getting those 9 points in 12 games. It's not some bad totals either, and so amazing to see them producing, but also producing together.
Yeah, and, a lot of people have been talking about, we need to get Joshua Waugh up here. Why are we still calling up Armia? There is still the question, Jesse, of the Habs have a lot of forward depth, a lot of guys that are playing very well. Your top 9, you're not going to move any of them. And then the fourth line right now is Pezzetta, Evans, and RHP. And then you have Jesse Ullinen, who's kind of going in and out of there as well. And it's how do you replace any of these guys, right? And to me, I don't know if you share this opinion with me, and I'm sure a lot of commenters will. Let us know down below what you think. But if Joshua was to get called up, I would like it to be in a higher up role in the lineup. We've discussed this before. We've saw some people like former NHL coaches saying, I think Joshua Waugh should get called up to play with Suzuki and Caufield when they were still trying to find a line mate. So what do you think of that? Do you think it's worth calling Joshua Waugh up if, say, there's an injury and he would just be playing 4th line minutes? Or do you think it might be better to let him dominate in the AHL for a while?
It'd be the best to let him dominate in the AHL, but I think even when it is his time for the NHL, I think it's okay to kind of do the same thing like Martin St. Louis has done with Cole Caufield, and with Juraj Slafkovsky more so in his tenure, right? Because Slafkovsky was more newer in his development than Cole Caufield was. But both of these players, they're playing time on that 4th line. The intention is 100% with Cole Caufield, with Juraj Slafkovsky, obviously for them to play in the top 6. And as I mentioned, Joshua Waugh, you have to feel like it's the same way. He's forced himself in that conversation now. Now their intention is to play him in the top 6. So they want to do that, but for sure, he's going to pay his dues. And I think that's just nice to kind of get a feel for, how the team kind of, plays as a whole, the overall structure. But definitely that focus is to have them be in the top 6 and to really find the best path to get them there, because that's where they want them to be.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how they end the season, because if they stay on this pace, my goodness, you might have no choice but to call them up. Speaking of some guys that might not get a call up this season, although I guess you never know, but we got to talk a bit about Owen, Beck, and Filip Mesar. These guys, look, Jesse, we've been talking about how all these Habs prospects are playing so well. Isn't it crazy how many guys we were okay, well, we want to see them produce this year. Let's just see. And they're just taking these jumps, right? Farrell, almost point per game in the AHL, 9 points in 12 games. Joshua Waugh, over point per game, one of the leading scorers in the AHL. But now you have guys like Owen Beck, who, to be fair, was off to a slow start of the season. He had 7 goals and 2 assists for only 9 points through his first 13 games. Then this past weekend, he went out and had a 4-assist performance and a 5-4 win. He has looked really good defensively and very solid on the dot as well. So he's finally starting to get those points. He's at 13 and 14 games. But Filip Mesar as well, this might be even crazier. Filip Mesar's on a 107-point pace. Will that stay up? Who knows? But 4 goals, 11 assists in just 8 games. 29 goal pace, 78 assist pace, and that's just in 57 games as well, right? So my goodness, yeah, he missed a few as well at the start of the season because he was playing with Laval. These two guys, Jesse, these are two guys that we looked at and we said, okay, you're going back to the OHL, like very similar in the fact that we're like, we want to see a big jump in points. And while Owen Beck is slowly crawling his way back into points, he's still showing a lot of the aspects that we've really liked. Filip Mesar, it feels like he's in another stratosphere of production so far this year in the OHL, and it's just been exactly what we wanted to see.
Exactly what we want to see from our former first round pick. And it's like, again, you almost expect, as we have so many prospects, that like a couple are going to fall away. And it's like, and almost easy for us to forget when you start winning a couple games, that like, oh wait, we're in a rebuild. Like it really matters for like these young guys still to produce and to play well. But like the fact that we're kind of hitting, like so many of these players right now are really playing well, you know, like Mesar, he's getting more time to play right now in the OHL. Seems like a great spot for him. Obviously, his numbers are great right now. But what I think this overall speaks to is so many of our prospects that are playing amazing right now. We're not even talking about, you know, Lane Hudson and all them other, which of course we're going to talk about really shortly, is like, it really speaks. A lot of these players were drafted within, you know, either the last year or the year before that, which is really the tenure of Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes. So it's really showing their ability to make some amazing picks, which is, you know, just so amazing to see, really.
Yeah, the late round pick shining is really awesome. And yeah, like stick around. We'll have a Lane Hudson video at some point as well. I mean, we talk about him so often, but this is an AHL and OHL video because these guys have been doing crazy. There's so many other prospects too, like someone like Adam Engstrom overseas, like so many guys to look forward to. Even Logan Mayu's playing really well in the AHL right now. But yeah, Mesar and Beck, if they continue on this pace, like again, this is exactly what we wanted to see. Mesar finally breaking through with that skill. Really excited to see how he looks come the end of the season. But the one guy that was in the hook, the guy that we really wanted to talk about is not that. Why did I show that? Florian Xhekaj. And Jesse, he might be the next big thing. Now, do I think he's going to be a top 6 forward for the Montreal Canadiens? Honestly, no, I do not. However, he is a unicorn. Take a look at his stats. By the way, he's recently been moved to center. Like, he's just doing a bit of everything. He is on a 53-point pace in the OHL. And, like, I know that's not as much as these other guys like Mesar and Beck and all this, but he's on a 31-goal pace. He has 7 goals, 5 assists in 15 games, 12 points in 15 games. For a guy that's really not a point scorer that much, he's more of a bully, right? He's on pace for 119 penalty minutes, Jesse, and you watch his highlights. I'm actually going to probably link some highlights down below from HUGE Prospect videos, a great prospect YouTube channel here on YouTube. Please go check the link in the description. Check them out. They had a great video on Florian. And he just looks dominant. Like, on the ice, he's out there bodying people, knocking people to the ice left and right. He is driving play with his offense. He's still quite fast. Is he a bit raw? Yeah, for sure. But you can see why the Habs, what a lot of people consider to be quite a big reach when they picked him, I think in the 4th round, right? They thought, oh, he might be there in the 6th, 7th round. But this guy, like, his flashes of skill so far this year have been a bit shocking. Like, first couple games, we're like, oh yeah, he's going to slow down, right? Couple goals here and there. He hasn't yet. In fact, he's probably sped up. He's like a bull in a china shop when he plays. And like, it's just so exciting to watch him play. And you know he has that same mentality as Arber, which I think bodes very well for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, I feel like the same way about this as you do, Josh. Like, he's a lot quicker than we realize, right? And like the fact that he's just, you know, kind of producing points at the rate that he is, you know, and getting moved to center, which is scoring like he's scoring goals, but then he's also playing well enough defensively to be put into those greater responsibility type of roles. Like, this is just absolutely incredible to see, because this is just like the type of player that, like, I don't know, I find you win hockey games with, like a player that kind of plays for keeps, you know, and I love that. And it's like, it's just getting crazy, Josh, because every day that this happens, I can't believe we're saying this right now, but it's like, the likelihood of Florian and Arber Xhekaj playing together on the same team, like the more that he continues to play like this, the more that this becomes like a possibility. Now, like, Arber's already scary on the ice. Now imagine they have to worry about another Xhekaj, like, you know, like they'd have to contain themselves. Like, I feel it'd be like 2-on-2 fights going on and stuff like that.
Tag team fights.
Right? You know, like it would just get wild at this point. Like, the entertainment value just through the roof. But again, like Arber, he's showing not only am I like a competitor and I'm there to look after my teammates, but like I'm a hockey player. I can play as well, as Martin St. Louis would say. And it's looking like Florian Xhekaj is a hockey player as well.
Yeah, he sure is. And again, like his ceiling, we don't really know. I mean, with guys like this, it's always really hard to tell. Will he have value in the NHL? Will he not? Will he have to improve his skating? Yeah, probably. But you know, as like a 4th line grinder, even like maybe a 3rd line, the guy at his absolute peak, right? That kind of thing. Like, having just a grinder there who can fight and who can still like have a decent shot and put a puck in the back of the net is always valuable, whether it's in the AHL or even in like an NHL bottom 6, right? So he's showing a lot of the traits that a lot of teams still want. And while fighters aren't as in demand as they used to be, his production can't be ignored either. Like, don't forget, Michael Pezzetta was like well under a point per game and pretty much everywhere he went throughout his journey, and now he's like solidified on the Habs' fourth line. Whether maybe him or Ullinen sometimes, but still, like, he's there, and he got a decent contract out of it. So I can see this being the future path for Florian Xhekaj, but guys, keep an eye out for him because he is a specimen. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate all your support, and we hope it continues all along the rest of the season and all the way through this rebuild. I'm Josh Gosse, for my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.